Hello and welcome everyone. We are back for another round here in PSGL F5 for round 8 of the season, and we are here for a new track in Vietnam in Hanoi, and I'm very pleased to be back after an absence of 2 weeks now, which I'm really sorry about, but luckily I had a beautiful replacement with Jake doing it last week, which was very kind of him, and he's going to be with me as my co-commentator for the rest of the season. So, hello and welcome, Jake.
Thank you. I don't know what Jake you were talking about there when you said beautiful. I think you must have been referencing another Jake. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to this one. Quite similar to Baku, this track. So hopefully we'll see a lot of chaos and maybe a few surprises along the way.
I could definitely see some chaos happening. I mean, the walls are very, very tight to the car at most parts, especially that last corner is so tricky to get right. Just if you brake that little bit too late, you're gonna hit the wall on the outside. If you brake too early, you're gonna hit the wall on the inside, or just lose your momentum completely. So that is really tricky to get right. And yeah, generally a new track, Jake. Like, what's the biggest difficulty of a new track for league racing?
I think when you get familiar with a track, you know where the overtaking spots are, you know where to be slightly careful, especially when the field bunches up at times in the opening lap or two. Obviously, with the new track, you don't have that advantage. You're almost going into it blind in that sense, and there's certainly a few corners on this first lap where cars can bunch up, and you've got to be very careful to avoid contact. And obviously, if you've been to a track before, you already know that, whereas here, it's all guessing work, so you've got to be alert, probably more so than you would be at a normal track, and you've just got to be ready for the unexpected, and obviously as well as strategy. If you've not done much practice, you might not be too aware of what the best strategy is as well, so that's going to be quite key too.
Yeah, especially like I said, the track is very narrow, really difficult to get right. Especially that last sector is kind of unique. I can't think of many tracks that have such a tight S section with such high-speed corners where the walls are so close to the car, and it's very easy to just slightly clip the wall and damage your front wing, which would lose you massive amounts of times. This is, by the way, my first time commentating here in Vietnam, so this is the first time I'm actually seeing those replay cameras or those broadcast cameras, and I gotta say they look kind of nice, seeing those cars swoop around the S section here in the third sector. Nice to see. And we're gonna have Gavin setting the first lap of the race. And yeah, where do you think is gonna be the best spot for overtaking? I think we both think about the hairpin, but do you reckon maybe if you can get a good run, and maybe if the car in front could make a mistake into the last corner, do you reckon turn one could be an opportunity?
Absolutely. I think the first few corners are a good opportunity. The way that turn two is, it means you can take a few different lines. If you're behind somebody who's on maybe slightly older tyres, you can potentially sneak down the inside with a bit more traction. There's a few other spots as well, I think just after the hairpin as well. When you go into the right-hander that starts sector 3 off, that's a good opportunity as well. So even if you have been overtaken at the hairpin, if you can get a better exit, there is an opportunity into the following corner. So the hairpin is the best opportunity, but there are others as well. And of course, it's quite easy to hit the wall, so you might also have the opportunity if somebody picks up damage against one of these walls, especially as you mentioned in that last sector where we've got that tricky S section, and if you get it wrong, there's not really anywhere for you to go other than the wall.
Yeah, not a lot of room for error, but we're definitely not lacking overtaking opportunities this race. So, yeah, I'm expecting an exciting one here as we see Gavin fly through that third sector so close to the walls, which is great to see on the broadcast cam. And yeah, especially that last sector with front wing damage is going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to lose you a lot of time. But what I felt is really affecting the car are the curbs around here. Some curbs are very, very high, and if you mount them, your car just becomes so unstable, as Gavin sets the benchmark of a 133.2. We've got Simics quite a lot of time behind Gavin. Oh no, sorry, that was Schulze actually. Schulze 1.7 seconds off, that's massive. And then we've got Simics in P2, also Nino 1.7 seconds off, who's back here this week. I haven't seen him race in a long time, not gonna lie. And yeah, he's on mediums though. So do you reckon he might go for an alternate strategy?
It's an interesting one because from what the data I'd got anyway, the softs tend to last around 12 laps here and the mediums about 16, and with the race being 28 laps, a one stop from soft to medium should be very possible, but from what I saw certainly last night in F7, the much more preferred strategy was soft to hard, so it would be very much going against the grain if he did start on medium tyres, because that's not something I saw a lot of yesterday. But the option's definitely there, and like I said, although one stop from soft to mediums is possible, you've got to be very good with tyre management.
Well, time management could definitely be affected, especially on this track. I think it could prove very difficult when your tires go off because obviously you're lacking grip then, and the car becomes very unstable out of corners. And then we've got the slow hairpin, which is actually really slow, and the traction out of it is not easy either. So you might spin out there, and then obviously the S section in the last sector with worn tires uh, could be very, very difficult as well. I mean, you never want worn tyres, but when it's a high-speed section, even less. And we've got ghosts lagging out, which is not what we want to see. And yeah, I think you can rejoin though, due to the fact that it's quality. But currently, the gap between first and second is 7 tenths, so that's massive.
Yeah, it's not a similar thing in F7. Someone just set the pace and no one could really get closer. 33.2 is a very, very good lap time. Pretty good effort from Simics as well. I believe he was here last week, but didn't really produce that kind of form. There is still a few big hitters we've yet to see do laps. In fact, one of them, Mikulitsi, is on a lap right now. He's going through the S section. He's looking on a pretty solid effort. So I reckon this could put him on the first couple of rows. And of course, Rataka, the championship leader's yet to do a lap either. So there's a few big hitters we've not seen yet. So hopefully we could see someone get a lot closer to Gavin's time. What can Mikulitsu do across the line? Not as good as I thought it was going to be, actually. Only fourth rather. Over a second off Gavin's time.
Very interesting to see how far those other guys are off Gavin. And Gavin's not even our championship leader. That's Rataka, and Rataka has not managed to set a lap so far this race. And Schultz said, "Watch my start." He's currently in P8, so looks like he's expecting big things from himself from the start. Hopefully we'll see some exciting moves from him, but also a man who's been looking very strong towards the start of the season, but has not had the was not had the best streak of results lately, but fought back a little bit 2 weeks ago in Zandvoort. Is Fairhand, sorry. And as I went on board with Fairhand was sliding across the wall and actually turning into the wall. So that was a bit weird. Don't know what he was planning to do there, but probably scrubbing off like the tire marks, maybe the red things of the tires, so the others can't see what tire he's on. Maybe, don't know. Maybe some odd strategy. And we've got bold prediction. And we've got someone in the chat saying Rataka will win the race, and Rataka currently without a lap, like I said, so could be interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, I just saw Cortez there in a lap, and Gio actually came out of the pits just as he was going around turn 2. And thankfully, Gio actually spotted it in good enough time and got out of the way. That may have compromised Cortez ever so slightly. One thing I noticed in regards to F5, which I find quite astonishing actually, is that in the 7 races we've had so far this season, we've actually had 7 different winners. Although Lewis last week only got half points due to the unfortunate mistake in regards to the corner cutting rules. But yeah, we still had 7 different winners from 7 races, and that's quite a surprise. I don't think there's many leagues in PSGL that can boast that record. And well, Lewis, who won last week, isn't here tonight, but I wonder, we're going to get an 8th different winner. Of course, Rataka, the championship leader, he won the opening race, but he hasn't won since.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of the 2012 real life F1 season when we had 7 different winners in 7 races. The streak ended in Valencia at round 8 of the championship back then, when Fernando Alonso took his 2nd win. I can remember that. And obviously the GOAT, Michael Schumacher, taking his final podium of his career. yeah, don't at me for saying he's the GOAT. Just stating some facts here. And now I can already hear the angry fanboys in the chat, so I hope Bran is not watching. But Cortez currently goes 6th fastest. And yeah, gotta say, F5 has not been disappointing at any round so far this season. And yeah, it's a really fun division to commentate, not gonna lie.
Absolutely. Ratika's, I think what's helped Ratika get the 13-point championship lead he's got is that he's scored points in every race, and actually the worst result he's had all season was at Zandvoort and Silverstone, but even that was still in the top 5. He only got 4 points last time out, but of course that was half points, so it wouldn't have been, that would still have been 4th place for him. So being in the top 5 all season, and that's a serious mark to his consistency. I believe Matt's just about to improve and he goes 2nd, a little bit closer to Gavin at the top, but still half a second adrift.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is so important when it comes to motorsport, and yeah, it's just great to see what Ratika has been doing this season so far. Nearly free of mistakes, and he's just always there, even if his pace is not that great. He always finds a way to be back up there in the top 5 and, you know, maybe not extend his championship lead, but at least not lose too much of his championship lead, not let it come down too quickly. And yeah, that's what you need in the end. Also, you've mentioned earlier then that it was a close call at the pit lane exit. I would actually like to talk about that one. The pit lane exit, I think it's pretty dangerous because you're coming at quite a high speed out of the pits, and then the nature of the corner basically sends you out wide for a good run. As Simics improves slightly as well, but he can't climb up the order, so he stays in 4th place, and Hausman goes 2nd. But yeah, we can see on board right now with Simics, the pit lane exit, it's just a bit weird, it's just a bit awkward, and it can be quite dangerous in the race, don't you think?
Yeah, I think sometimes when they design these street tracks, it kind of feels like the pit lane pit exit's almost like an afterthought. It's like, oh, we need to put it somewhere. And the problem is, like, certainly for commentators, I found it's quite misleading sometimes, because with the broadcast cameras, you'll see someone coming down the straight, and you'll think, ooh, they're going to rejoin really close to this person coming out the pits. But in fact, the person coming out the pits will be miles in front, because you get on the power so early out coming out the pits, and you fly straight into turn 2, like you say. So it is a dodgy pit lane exit, I think, and hopefully one that may be redesigned in the coming years. A bit like, I remember when we went to Korea, when they first had the pit lane there, and that was really bad, and they actually did some changes to it. So I wonder if when we go to Vietnam next year they might do something about that, because it's not the most ideal of pit exits, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. I mean, I think they can't let the cars come out the pits before turn 1. I think the run is a bit too short, and the straight is not long enough for the pit lane the way it is right now. I'm not sure about that though. I'm not Herman Tilke, who also designed this track, I think. Not sure. I think, did he?
It's a good guess. I can't confirm, but usually when it comes to modern circuits, Furhan goes into the wall around the final corner. That's a corner that will catch many driver out, I think, over the next over the rest of his session and the race. It's a very awkward corner. You turn in too early, you hit the inside wall. You get on the power too early, you can hit the outside wall. It's definitely, for me, one of the trickiest corners I've come across in a while.
Yeah, 100%. And in the race, when you have to push lap after lap, it can prove very, very tricky. And also, when the car in front makes a mistake, it might set you up for a move into turn 1 as well. But yeah, it could be a very interesting race. I feel like it could be like Baku, but we all remember, or we might not remember, that in Baku, the first race in 2016, was probably one of the most boring races of that season, and everyone was so disappointed because the track had so much potential for chaos, and it didn't provide that chaos. I hope today's going to be different. I hope Vietnam goes off to a good start here in F5, but we'll have to wait and see. Currently only a couple of lads out on the track, and one of them is Miku, who is on a flying lap and has now put his ERS down to 0, so he's not on a flying lap anymore.
No, and Nino was, well, he invalidated his lap and then he went off the track to try and recover, and then to try and just make it safely back to the pits, and then lost it while he was off the circuit. So quite unusual there. He's now right behind Kev, who is on an out lap. What I find quite interesting so far is we've got 3.5 minutes to go, and there's 3 drivers who have not, well, obviously Ghost we know actually left the session at one point, but Ratica and Puma have not gone out onto the track yet, and it's not something you'd expect a championship leader to do with only 3 minutes of a session left.
Yeah, that is true. I'll have to check if I actually missed some Stewart's findings or something like that.
There's only Hyde who has a qualifying ban, but he's not actually here anyway. So there's there's no reason for Ratica not to be out there. But
That's
he's
awful.
just
That is very odd indeed.
I don't think this is a track where you'd want to be in the pack either at the start.
And not really. I mean, especially that first corner is quite slow, isn't it? And then it turns from the left-hander into a right-hander, and then it's a long swooping right-hander as well. So if you're in the midfield, then in the mix, it could be quite difficult, and your front wing will not feel comfortable. At least, let's put it that way.
Absolutely not. Still no one's got within half a second of Gavin's lap time. We are coming into the final runs now. I'm just interested. I'm keeping an eye out for Ratica and Puma. Puma it has just actually gone out on track, but nothing yet as yet from Ratica. He needs to get a move on if he is planning to come out, so he won't have that much time left. But yeah, is there anyone, do you think, that can take the fight to Gavin in these last 2 minutes?
It certainly doesn't look like it all too much, if I'm honest. I mean, we've got only 2 other drivers who are actually within 5/10 of him, and we'll have to remember that was Gavin's first lap of the session, his banker, and he's more than 4.5 tenths away from second, so that's quite a massive gap. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Puma out of nowhere puts in the best lap of his life and goes on pole, but currently I don't think that anyone can challenge Gavin for pole position, if I'm honest.
And Gavin is on another lap. He's half a tenth down in sector 1, but that's easily rectifiable in the rest of a lap. I'm just on board with Gio, though, who actually went locked up into the hairpin and ran deep, so that may have cost him some time. Is he improving? He's actually caught a second up, Gio, on what he did previously, so with a good final sector here, he could potentially move up to second. And this last sector really is a place where you can really gain and lose time, so a really important part of the lap. It looks fairly steady from Gio. He was a little bit wide at the start and he's now invalidated it. He ran way too much over the curve there, and that's already going to end up with one result there.
Can he go for another run? Will he go for another run? That's the question. He still improved though.
Gavin across the line does improve. Gavin does a 33.1, so he's lowered the benchmark by a further 10th.
And who's going to be the one challenging him for pole position now? Simics is out on a lap, so is Matt, so is Hausman, and yeah, all 3 are very close to each other on the track. We've got a different car that's enough Terry in between. I think that's Leon. Yes, it is. But let's see who comes across the line next. I think Miku has just started his lap, I think. Then we've got Cortez, who's also just started his lap right before the end of this session. So very, very tight with timing, if I'm honest. And then we've got Kev, who is not on a flying lap, so he won't improve. And then the first car to set a final lap is McPaper, who is currently in P10. It's the first time I'm seeing him in a league race. So yeah, hopefully he will show something good here today as he comes around the final corner, clips the inside wall, clips the outside wall as well. And that's a lot of his lap time gone. And then we had Simic coming across the line, goes second. Then we've got Hausman, who then goes second. And what does Matt do? Matt comes around the final corner. Can he challenge for pole?
Oh, he hit the wall slightly, but he's going second.
I don't know, was that 2 tenths in the end? Hitting that wall on the outside? I don't think it was.
Puma now goes second.
Oh, and Gio just blew it once again.
I know Miku was one of the last people to start a lap, so he's now in the final sector. He's going slightly quicker. Not that much, though. That's a great lap from Puma, though. Already needed 1 lap, and he's put it on the front row. Ratica has decided not to do a lap. Is there anyone else improving? I think Scholes, that might have just been moved up to 7th. Simics was second half a minute ago. He's now... Oh,
And
Nino!
Nino takes pole!
What a lap at the end of 33-0. That came out of nowhere as Miko improves to 8th, but we're talking about Gavin dominating qualifying, and then Nino, out of nowhere really, snatches it away.
My mouth is wide open right now. I can't really believe how Nino just out of nowhere took pole from Gavin, and I think everyone who's watching right now thought Gavin pretty much had it in the bag, and then there was Nino who came out of nowhere and just put in a beautiful lap over 33 flat. That's actually a bit slower than F6 pole time yesterday, which was a 32.8, I believe. And yeah, Nino, fantastic lap.
Absolutely, out of nowhere as well. He didn't really show anything else in the rest of that session that suggested he was about to do that, which made it all the more surprising. I can't help feeling the most gutted driver out there might be Matt, though, because he had that glance against the wall at the final corner, and maybe that cost him a few temps, so he could have been a bit higher up as well. But yeah, well done to Nino, snatching that away from Gavin. But it's going to be an interesting fight in the race, because it's actually ended up a lot closer than we perhaps would have expected.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Gavin had pole by half a second for pretty much the majority of this quali session, and then out of nowhere people started to get closer, and then Nino just took pole. And also with Puma only setting one lap at the end, Puma could be someone who maybe is going to be right up there as well, and like you said, Matt, with the mistake he made, might be up in the fight for the race win as well. And don't forget about Houseman, he's not too far away. But yeah, that's your top 5. Then we've got Simics, Leon, Miku, Schultz, and Gio. Then we've got Cortez, Kev, McPaper, Fairhun, Rattiger, who has decided not to set a lap, and Ghosts, who has sadly lagged out of the session. But yeah, I think now I was a bit scared that Gavin is going to dominate this weekend then and take pole by 5/10s actually. But yeah, suddenly it's Nino. Good job.
Yeah, fair play to Nino. He did get third last time out at Monza, but even so, that's still completely unexpected. What I find surprising, which really just sums up the unpredictability we have in F5, obviously Ratka chose not to do a lap time, but then you got second place Miko in a championship. He's already qualified 8th, and third place Furhan's down in 14th. Just shows how crazy this championship is becoming at the moment, and although Ratka's got the lead at the moment, it's still very much open for anyone who can string just a couple of wins together.
Definitely. I mean, he had the consistency so far this season, and I think that's what his championship rivals have been struggling with the most. In terms of pace, I think there are quite a few people in this division who can challenge him. But like you've mentioned already, his consistency is just so good, and finishing inside the top 5 every week is very impressive. But today is going to be quite a task, starting from nearly last place. I don't know if Ghost is in the lobby. It looks like he's not. That's sad to see. So he's going to start last, and yeah, that's not good for him. Or is Ghost in the lobby?
Not too sure. Doesn't look like he might not be. I guess we'll find out if he's ghosting or not. Scholl's mentioning he did his lap with half a wing from turn 4, so Nime's not bad in that, if that's correct.
Fair and Rattica crashed and spun. So yeah, nice one there. And I just saw the strategy popped up, and it suggested a 2-stop. I really doubt that, and I'm not sure is Ghost actually in. He's on hards. Don't know if the AI does that, but he's ghosted, so I guess he's not in. That's sad to see. But yeah, let's have a look at the tyres of the drivers, not the telemetry there. We've got the details, and yeah, everyone outside the top 10 decided to start on mediums, except from Ghost, who's not in the lobby. He decided to go on to hards. So do you reckon the alternate strategy could prove helpful today in this race? Could bring them up the order just that little bit more?
Well, it's firstly quite a bit surprising, because actually the majority of people who qualified outside the top 10 in F7 actually elected to start on hards, so a little bit surprising that no one's chosen to do it here. I don't want to confuse it even more, but on my screen, Ghost is actually on mediums on my screen, so
Oh.
take from that what you will. But hope at least all the rest of the ties are the same on our end. But yeah, a little bit surprising that. But as I said, the optimum strategy should be a medium to softs, but at the same time, it's the sort of track where you'd be very surprised if a safety car doesn't appear at some point.
That is definitely true. And is Ghost actually ghosting on your screen though?
He's ghosting at times. I mean, he's not ghosting at others, but he looks to me like the way he's driving, it's very AI-like.
Okay, because on my
Yeah,
screen
think...
it's the same. So I guess he's not in the lobby. Now we've got drivers being disqualified from the formation lap. So basically standard stuff. I didn't get to do the formation lap yesterday either. Got tabbed right at the start of the formation lap. But in the end, it didn't affect me much. And I don't think it will affect those guys who've just been reset to their grid slots as we're waiting for the lights to come on now. And we are not far away from the race start here. As the lights are coming on now for round 8 of PSGL F5. And we are off here in Vietnam for the first time in PSGL F5, and it looks to be a solid start from Nino. Can he take the lead? Can he retain the lead? More or less. And there goes Gavin down the inside though. Will he take the lead on that one? That could be crucial. He goes off the track. That might have been an illegal move. And then we've got Puma dropping down. Nino regains the lead coming through turn 2 as Gavin goes wide. Tries to make the switchback work. Can't do it though. The yellow flags are gone. We've got green flag racing once again. And we've still got Nino in the lead. The timing is steadily glitched. And then we've got Schultz, who's had a great start. He called it. He said he's got to have a great first lap, and that's what he's trying to prove right here as he goes round the outside of Gavin. And they're still side by side. He's got the inside line now though, so he might get the move done, and yes he does. Now it's becoming under pressure from Gavin once again though, as this straight is proving to be very powerful in terms of slipstream, but he seems to be able to retain that second place. And what a start from Schultz, and he called it.
That's an incredible start. I saw a Ferrari there and thought, who on earth's that? Because I couldn't remember a Ferrari near the front of the field. But well done to Schultz. That's an incredible start. Matt, unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's got damage, but it looks like he was collected at the start because he's dropped to the back of the field. But some incredible starts there. Leon up to 4th as well. Miku up to 5th. Puma and Simics, I would say, are the main ones who have lost out there. But those first few corners definitely providing some opportunity to get him in loose positions. And fair play to Schultz. He really took advantage of it.
We've got yellow flags. That's a Red Bull. That's Rattica. And Rattica's
Rattica's out of the race.
And we've got a VSC on lap 1. And our championship leader has retired from the 8th round of the championship after finishing inside the top 5 every round so far. He has retired and will not score any points this week. And this is a massive chance for his rivals.
Just a bit of a bizarre sort of race, really, for Rattica. Had no attempt to go out in qualifying, and then it's quite an unusual crash even then. I know he sort of lost his front wing, and then he just sort of went into the opposite wall. It was a bit of a bizarre one, to be honest. Just not good from Rattica, not what we're used to seeing from him, and this opens up the opportunity to everyone else now, especially the likes of Miku, Furhan, and maybe Gavin as well, who are just behind him in the championship.
Yeah, definitely, and Gavin is trying to regain that second spot then from the Ferrari driver right in front of him, and who's also had a horrendous start is Hausman, who was dropped down from 5th to 9th. So yeah, he's way down the grid, but there goes Gavin then trying to regain that second spot on lap 2, and he goes down the inside, and that looked like a fairly easy move.
Yeah, no real. Once someone's got the inside on you at a hairpin, there's not really much you can do in that regard. And Gavin, to me, just looks like he's quicker than Schultz overall. It's a great start from Schultz, and he's definitely got some good pace, but I get the feeling Gavin may start to close in on Nino as well. We shall see, of course. But it's going to be an interesting fight now, because I reckon these top 3 are going to be going at it all race long at this rate. And we're just see what Nino can do out front, because he's actually yet to win a race, and well, we're looking for 8 different winners in 8 races. Could Nino provide us with that?
Nino is in a good shape today, it looks like. 1.4 second lead already, so he's got his rival right behind him out of the DRS window, and yeah, Schultz just still now dropped down to third again, but on lap 1 he gained 7 spots, and that is just out of this world. I mean, what a start that was.
It's just insane because he was in third by the middle of turn 2. You just think, how has he gained all those positions? Like, what has he done? I don't know if he does upload his footage or anything like that, but I actually would really love to see that start because I'm utterly astonished as to how he managed to gain all those positions. But credit to him, and it's put him in a really good spot now for the rest of the race ahead. But right now, Nino's looking strong, but Gavin's sort of pegging that gap now, 1.4 seconds, and Scholes is going with him, so potentially we could see many drivers fighting it out here for the win.
And I'm still for a replay feature on the Codemasters of One games. Just it would be great now to just have a quick replay on stream to lap 1, just an onboard footage of Schultz, like you said. And if the stream could see it, that would be great. But sadly, Codemasters are not doing anything for online. So I guess that is never going to happen, and yeah, good game.
In regards to Ratica, he just actually put in the chat that he lost his wing in turn 1, so I don't know, the way that I read that message, I could be reading it, interpreting it wrong, but it's almost like he, I don't know, maybe crashed out of frustration in the end, but either way, it's not the race he would have wanted, and maybe that decision to not qualify has kind of backfired on him.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about this earlier on in quali, that you are not really wanting to be in the middle of the pack on lap 1, especially through those first couple of corners. And yeah, that's what caught Ratica out in the end, it looks like. And that camera view I've got right now, I don't know if you've got the same, but that over the top, more or less, view where you can see the entire, yeah, it's nearly a roundabout, basically. That just looks great. That looks beautiful. Seeing the cars fly around that's great.
Absolutely, done some great work with the camera angles around here. The broadcast angles are really good. Sometimes at other tracks you do get some questionable ones, but say around Vietnam they've done a pretty good job. There's a bit of a train, I'd say, developing behind Leon in 4th. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yeah, more or less, I'd say. I mean, I guess from P4 to P9 you could definitely call it a train. And yeah, then we've got Kev 2.3 seconds behind, but I think that it's not going to be a race where everything's going to be boring and settled. I think we're going to see some front wings being lost at some points on this track, as Nino just keeps setting fastest lap after fastest lap. So Nino doing a great job so far. It already built up that lead to 1.6 seconds, and I just saw Miku lost quite a lot of time out of the last corner, and
yeah,
he glanced
he glanced the wall on the exit of the final corner. I think he's got away without damage, which is incredibly fortunate, to be fair, because he did give it a decent enough whack. Ratica's just confirmed he actually just lost it. He had no grip. I mean, round the final sector, we know front wing, and it's not exactly a scenario that anyone wants to be in. So, unfortunate for him there, because even with that time lost, as Puma goes for a very adventurous overtake, and he's going to make it stick. Miku ran a bit wide. Puma went for the really tight line, and he snuck his way up the inside. Not the conventional overtaking spot, but very effective indeed.
Yeah, good stuff there from Puma. And he's up to 5th now, and he's got the DRS as well from Leon up front, so he probably will be able to defend that position. And yeah, that's great stuff there, and that's what you need to do if you're a racing driver. And Miko seems to be struggling for grip now as he loses the rear end, and there goes Gio down the inside now into the right hander here, and he's got the move done already before the braking zone starts. And yeah, it seems like Miko's already struggling with his tyres, with his rear tyres maybe. And it's only lap 5. It's going to be a stretch for him then.
Yeah, he's already had a few moments. Like we said, he glanced the outside of the turn 23 wall last lap as we just got someone coming into the pits. That's Cymix into the pits. That's a very, very early stop. So I'm going to check actually.
Paper as well.
Yeah.
No, Kev, sorry.
Kev, and that must be for damage because he's on mediums. There'd be no logical reason to pit otherwise.
Yep. Both have got front wing damage.
That would explain it.
So, yeah, I might have jinxed it. One lap ago. Oh, look at Puma. Did you see that? He had to cut the inside corner there for the little left-hand king out of turn 2. And that's mad into the wall. I just saw that on the mini-map. And that's a VSC deploy then. And that's lucky for those two guys in the pit, so they won't lose as much time as they usually would with their front wing change. So pretty lucky indeed. But yeah, 2 retirements already, lap 6, and 2 people came in to change their front wings as well. So yeah, Vietnam already claiming their first victims, and it's actually a bit sad to see how much Fairhunt has dropped throughout the course of the season after starting off so strong, and now he's been struggling for a couple of weekends in a row now.
To answer Callum's question in the chat, how much ERS does Nino have? He actually has. I mean, it was from a few minutes ago, but to update him now, Nino's actually got more ERS available to him than both cars behind him by about 20%. So, as well as the fact that he's got a decent lead, he's saving his ERS pretty well as well. So, Nino looking good in all departments at the moment, and this is a very interesting race for the championship now as Leon pits.
Cortez has made an error and he's lost a bit of front wing, and that's what McPaper uses to his advantage, and he gets past. And yeah, I noticed that Leon had a bit less ERS than those guys around him, so he decides to go for a pit stop already.
It's a new front wing on Leon's car, so he must have also had damage somewhere. He's got onto the hard tyres. Based on what I know about the hard tyres, he should be able to get those to the end, but it'll be still pretty close. Roughly is sort of how long the hards is expected to last. So Leon can go to the end from here, but he may be a little bit slow towards the end of it, as he just rejoins in front of Cymix for out of that incredibly awkward pit exit.
I gotta say, it looks like Gio is showing some really good pace right now, and he's just gone past Puma as well, so he's up to 4th now. Obviously Leon and Simics have already pitted, but still we're gonna wait and see where those guys come out. If he doesn't have to change his front wing, he might stay ahead of them and actually be P4 right now in this race. But yeah, he's done a good job so far, not gonna lie. He's gained a couple of positions now and is up to P4 and not far away from a podium position. I also want to check if I just missed it or if we didn't have any time penalties. Cortez has a 3-second time penalty and a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And ooh, interestingly enough, Puma has got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags, plus 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane now. So he'll have to serve 5 seconds for what is a ridiculous penalty. That was probably for lap 1 for that turn 2 incident where he overtook the car, or where he probably got overtaken and then there were yellow flags and he maybe re-overtook him. So that's a bit unfortunate, but that second 5-second pen, that might have cost him then.
And another thing that's going to cost him as well is he's gone for medium tyres, and I don't think those are going to make the end from there, so he's pretty much nailing himself in for a 2-stopper now as well, so that's not good either. I was just about to say as well, Hausman has become the latest person to fall victim to the Vietnam walls. He had to pit due to damage, he collected it. I thought I saw in the background he took a bit of an odd line, that's because he did glance a wall. But he's come back out now on hard tyres.
Look at Puma, sorry to interrupt you, but he goes for a move around the outside. That's opportunistic, but they leave each other the room, and Simics, fair play to him, he leaves him the room he needed. And yeah, he gets past, but now that might not have been too smart from Puma, not gonna lie, because Simics now has got the DRS for that long straight coming down to that hairpin, and Simics might want to regain that 8th spot for the moment as he goes down the inside now. Into the hairpin they go, and I think the move is already done before they come into the braking zone, and yes it is, and he's back up to P8. Not the smartest decision from Puma to pass him right before the long DRS straight. And yeah, good tactics there by Simics.
Yeah, I was going to have to correct myself from earlier. I said that that Puma overtake's a little bit unorthodox, but for him it just seems to be his favourite overtaking spot. That's twice I've seen him do it there now. So, but yeah, unfortunately that time he didn't have the help of DRS from the car in front, so ultimately he did lose that place back as we've got Hype Shoals in the pits. I'm not sure. So that's for a set of medium tyres, which again I don't think is going to make the end from there. So
It's got to be a stretch.
Yeah, those on hard tyres for me are in the best position now, obviously ignoring any potential safety cars. But important move here for Nino as he's just about to pass McPaper, and that's an important move now because he's got some good clear air after that, which he can run in and try and keep the pace going so he doesn't get overtaken by Gavin.
Yeah, Nino's having a great race so far. Gotta say though, the pit lane is really not that long. I mean, oh, and we've got yellow flags. Is that Cortez? Or yes, that is Cortez, who is spun out of the first couple of corners. Sad to see he's in the wall, lost right wing. Look at Nino. How far was he in front of Gavin? 2 seconds?
It was about it was about 2 seconds. Yeah, so it's.
So I guess you're losing about 17 seconds in the pits. That's not much, if I'm honest. That's not much for a Formula 1 racetrack. And usually the pit delta is like 20 seconds, but it seems like right here you're losing only 17. And yeah, that's quite low number. And what I think Gavin is trying to do right now, and so is Gio and so is Miku, I think they are trying to stretch their soft stint to then switch onto the mediums, because that could be the only chance for Gavin to beat Nino in this race, because it seemed like both had pretty similar pace and Nino was slightly quicker than him, I think. So it would have been very difficult for Gavin to pass Nino, but with that strategic chance, he can maybe try and overtake him. And that VSC has just come out a bit too early. If it would have come on later in the race, then it might have helped Gavin. But do you reckon Gavin will try the alternate strat to Nino's?
It's definitely worth a try. I think if you can get those soft tyres just going for another 1 or 2 laps, then the medium tyres do then become an option. So it's definitely worth doing. And of course, if we do have a safety car later on, he'll then be on the better tyres. So for me, it's looking at the moment anyway that Nino and Gavin are the main candidates for the win, because Scholes, who was in third behind Nino, has actually dropped quite a way behind him after the pit stops, and as well as that he's on mediums, which I'm still not entirely sure will go to the end. So at the moment anyway, it's a 2-horse race between Nino and Gavin. If Gavin can do something different, then that win's there for him potentially towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned it. 7 winners in 7 races. 7 different winners, sorry. And yeah, Nino seems to be the man to be the 8th different winner in our 8th race this season. And I wonder, could this be? I don't think it's ever happened in the entirety of PSGL's history that we had a season with with no double winner, with no double time winner, or 2-time winners. Sorry, that's the right phrasing. I don't think that's ever happened, that we had no driver who won 2 races. Has that happened? I'm not sure. I don't think it has.
Have to go for a long check in the record books. I'd be very surprised if it has, because it's quite an unusual stat. But there's definitely some drivers out here that haven't won races yet that could definitely do so in the future. And Nino's got his chance tonight. Of course, Gavin has won previously, so he would be our first 2-time race winner of this season. And in fact, it would be really important for Gavin as well, because I think that would put him right into championship contention with a win here tonight. As Nino is right behind Miku, the P3. This is an important move for Nino to make. He wants to lose as little time as possible, and that's going to be a very simple move up the inside of a hairpin. I think Miku's sensible enough as well to know that's not really worth fighting from his angle either.
Yeah, very smart decision. And there goes Fairhan against Schultz, it looks like. And Schultz has gone past Fairhan, who's still on his first set of tyres, and Schultz has already made his pit stop. So Schultz needed to get past, and Gavin pits.
It's going to be interesting now to see what he goes on to. You are getting to that sort of window now where mediums, if he's careful with them, should be okay to last. As Gio also pits. I'd be shocked if he doesn't go for mediums now, otherwise I think it would have been a bit pointless to stay out so long on softs. We shall see though. Yep, they've got the medium tyres at the ready for the Williams, so this is important.
Are they not ready? On my screen,
Oh,
they're
well.
not ready. They weren't ready.
Well, no, so they weren't ready.
And he got jumped. No, he didn't. All right, on my screen he got jumped. Sorry. Got a bit overhyped then, but the virtual safety car at least definitely helped him now.
Oh, yeah, the virtual safety car. I don't know what that's for, but that's really helped out Gavin, and he comes out. Oh, he's still comfortably behind Nino though, due to that slow pit stop. So that's really cost him.
Yeah.
And right now, Nino's looking in a very strong position. That's our third or fourth virtual safety car already, but we haven't actually had an actual safety car yet.
Yeah, that's a bit odd, but I know that Codemaster sometimes likes to bring out virtual safety cars instead of proper safety cars, and then it's basically impossible to get a proper one. But Gavin needs to clear that traffic ahead of him as quickly as possible now. But it looks like Fairhan on this straight is just too far away to actually be overtaken by the Williams driver. And let's have a look. Can he go for a late lunge? No, he doesn't. And that's going to cost him. Being stuck behind Fairhan on all mediums now in that last sector, that's not going to help. And also that's not going to help his tyre wear. So every millisecond could prove crucial for him now.
Yeah, he's got some cars that he needs to get past. Scholes has actually leapfrogged him because of that as well. So Scholes may try and get to the end as well, so he might be less willing to sacrifice the place. We've got McPaper in the pit, so that's one obstacle removed for Gavin in his bid to try and close in on Nino. What I find interesting as well is that Gio's actually opted to go for hard tyres despite the fact he pitted on the same lap as Gavin, so I'm not really too sure about that strategy. My opinion, as Gavin goes down the inside of Fairhan into turn one, and that's a done deal. Just obviously got a better traction on those tyres now and managed to make the move stick and back up to third place, and he's only got Scholes now between him and Nino, but in terms of time he's 8 seconds behind him now.
Well, he already regained 1.4 seconds to Nino. I think that was ultimately just down to a better virtual safety car restart from Gavin. Probably had some better timing than Nino. And yeah, but Gavin, I can't quite remember where he won. He won in Spain, yeah, that's right. He won in Spain, with punctures affecting the race result in the end. And he might, with a lot of good driving now, as in the background we've got Gio passing Fairhan now. Gio is one to watch out for as well. Maybe not for the race win, but he could challenge Gavin at some point for P2. Because if Gavin's tyres actually don't make it, if they go down and yeah, they don't deliver the pace he needs anymore towards the end of this race, we could see Gio, who's not too far away at the moment. But looking at his ERS amount, it's down to 14%, so it seems like he's pushing quite a lot at the moment.
Fairhan's performance a little bit mystifying, I have to say. He got 2 podiums in the first 2 races, but since then his form has quite dipped horrifically. He's still in third in the championship, but I have to say, if Fairhan can't up his performance, he's so slowly falling out of championship contention. He's in 5th at the moment, but he's yet to stop, and he's just had a bit of an anonymous race so far tonight. Not something you'd expect from someone who's up in the top 3 in the championship.
Yeah, it's just very unfortunate to see and very sad to see, if I'm honest, because it was fun seeing him and his teammate race up the front, and now we've got his teammate retired as the championship leader this race, him in 5th but without a pit stop, which is probably going to drop him down to 11th then when he makes that pit stop. And yeah, it's just a bit sad to see, but he's just not delivering the best pace so far, but maybe he gets a bit lucky with a safety car, who knows. But yeah, actually our man second in the championship, Miku, has not won a race so far this season, so at the moment it looks like Nino will be our 8th different winner in our 8th race, and Miku could become a 9th different winner this season at some point, because Miku has been quite solid as well. Definitely not today, it looks like, as he's down in P8, but he has shown on some occasion that he's got the pace for an actual race win.
Yeah, 4 podiums in 7 races is incredibly consistent, just yet to get on that top step. He's looking pretty good at the moment. He's on a pretty good strategy in the fact that he can run mediums to the end now. And if you look at some of the guys ahead of him that most likely going to have to stop again, you could argue at the moment that Miku's provisionally in P4 perhaps. Maybe P5 if Puma can stay out, but still looking at some more good points here today. And with Retaka not scoring, Miku could put himself even closer as well. So it's looking like this is an important move though for Gavin. He needs to clear Scholes as quickly as possible, really, because I think Scholes is going to have to stop again.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen now. Not on this straight though. Wouldn't be too smart if I'm honest. And what takeaway is? He lost the rear end
Puma
there.
Move.
Yeah, I think he mounted the curb on the inside because the curb there is pretty high and unsettles the car massively. And yeah, then he just completely lost the rear end. We can see Schultz is trying to break that slipstream, but he can't prevent the run from Gavin right now, and Gavin goes to the inside, and that should be an easy move coming down into the hairpin now. Or is it actually? Schultz tries to hold it around the outside, maybe tries to switch back, but no. I think Schultz knows that it's not really worth fighting for. If he's on 4-lap older mediums, he will be struggling to make it on the end on these tires. So he has different things to worry about.
I don't know what's just happened to Miku, because he was looking like he's about to overtake the Alfa Romeo of Cymix, but he's now slipped 2 seconds behind, so I don't know what happened there. Unfortunately, I switched to it too late, but Miku looking good to get P7, but now has dropped back. I don't think he's got damage from what I can see. I think the Renault is one of the more difficult cars to tell with that sort of thing, but Furhan is now in the pit, so he's making his one and only stop, and he should be able to switch to soft tyres now.
Oh, we've got yellow flags. That's a Ferrari. That's Kev. Could trigger a safety car, maybe.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention this about Kev, but I saw him in the pits a lap ago with a new front wing getting fitted, so he may be running out of front wings at this point. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him retiring in the pits very shortly.
I can't really blame him, because sometimes you've just got one of these days where everything goes wrong, when nothing goes your way. And it seems like today is one of those days for Kev. And yeah, I think everyone had such a day at some point. And yeah, Kev is having an absolute nightmare so far, even nearly 50 seconds behind a car that is not even racing. So yeah, I think that says everything about his race. Also Fairhan, P11, 12 seconds behind the next car, with now 30 laps to go. And it's going to be a struggle for him to actually pass him again. And also, I just wanted to mention, Schultz is not really letting go of Gavin just yet. He's still within that 1 second window. And we've got yellow flags. Who is that? Is that... I think that... Who was that?
Kev.
Ah, alright.
It might have been Kev
yeah.
recovering to the pits, yeah. Nothing.
Thought it was a Renault for a second, but nope. Seems like everything's fine there, and Cymix is getting closer and closer to Puma, and might be able to go for a move as Puma locks up and goes wide. And yes, there is the 1 second window that Cymix needs, and also Miku is catching back up after he lost some time.
A good battle developing here, and Cymix looking like he could potentially get that P5 off Puma. The top 4, as it were, kind of well away from this battle now, as Puma actually picks up a penalty, as Cymix has a massive oversteer moment on the curb, manages to avoid spinning, thankfully. Gavin is closing on Nino slowly but surely, but maybe perhaps not as much as we might have expected, with him being on obviously softer tyres.
Not really, and we gotta remember those medium tyres will go down to the end of the race, I reckon, but I'm not too sure. Also, I wonder what Cymix, Schultz and Puma will do with their strategy, because I'm not sure if they can actually make it till the end.
I think Miku's
first of all, sorry to interrupt you, but there goes Cymix then down the inside. That's a late move. and I didn't expect him to actually pass him, but it looks like he's got the move done. Oh, then loses the rear end. That might give Puma another chance for going down the inside into here. And the first right hand of Sector 3 is not the easiest spot for overtaking on this track, and Puma loses out. Very interesting to see. I didn't think Simics would actually go for that one, but he did, and fair enough, that was a good move.
Yeah, I think these two most likely will have to stop again, but Miku behind them I think could get to the end. It's a good move from Simics. These two definitely battling for position, both in terms of strategy and where they are on the track, so it's an important move for him to make, and it was a little bit of a late dive, but thankfully Puma saw him coming, and I get the feeling though that these two are quite similar on pace, so I don't think Alfa Romeo is just going to pull away now.
Yeah, that might be a battle we're going to see for quite a while now, maybe even to the end of the race, as Fairhahn at least gets his fastest lap. And there goes Puma once again down the inside then. Oh no, he doesn't. He
Lifted
this
out the
time,
throttle. Very strange.
He I think he wants that DRS.
Oh, he's going for his favourite overtaking spot. That's what he's doing. He's like, I can't make an overtake at any other corner. He's not allowing it, so he opted for his favourite corner. But the problem now is that I believe Civics is going to get the DRS on him. So
yeah, the detection point is on the straight, so I wonder if that was a bit of a tactic from Civics, but I don't know if it was or if it wasn't, but it definitely worked, and he's back up to P5. So he retained that spot, and Miku nearly hit the back of that McLaren right in front of him. That was oh so close. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. That yellow Renault car just came up flying into the hairpin, and I'm really glad he didn't hit Puma.
Absolutely not. I'd say it looks like a tactic from Puma, but it definitely didn't work, that's for sure. It just played right into Simics' hands. That's what I talk about, though, the effect of cars bunching up at the hairpin. It nearly caught Miku out there, and thankfully he just managed to get it stopped in time. But these three are definitely in massive combat for P5. A quick word for Gio as well, who I think is doing an excellent job in P4 and is looking pretty solid there as well, I would say, right now.
Yeah, definitely, and generally, the battle for the lead isn't that exciting, but that three-way battle we've got right now, not gonna lie, it's definitely entertaining me quite a lot right now, and yeah, we've oh, sorry, I wanted to say something, but then I just saw the McLaren locking up, and then I wanted to wait a second. And that was also close to the rear end of the Alfa Romeo. We didn't see the chaos we expected, not gonna lie, but we did see some front wings being lost here and there. But the chaos that we thought was about to unfold was not really there. And there goes Puma though. Maybe he can go around the outside. He lifts off the throttle slightly. He goes on the outside. Can he make the switchback work? No, he can't. It seems like he couldn't get the traction down quick enough. And that is not his move done. Maybe now around the outside. No, we can't. And Simics is doing a great job so far defending his P5 as Kev has spun once again.
Yeah, I almost didn't want to check that when I saw the yellow flag, unfortunately. It's fair play to him. He's carrying on maybe in case a point becomes available later on.
And both pit! Oh my goodness! Puma nearly... Oh, that you should have seen that one. Both dived into the pits. I think Puma was a bit surprised that Simics did the same thing, and he just braked way too late and nearly hit the rear end of Simics, completely destroyed the pit limiter board there, and Simics is going to come out way ahead of Puma, and Fairhahn is in the points.
Yeah, Puma was serving one of his 5-second penalties. He picked up another one thanks to that pit entry there, but I think he's still got a few more he hasn't served yet, so I don't really know where Puma's going to finish at this point. I don't think the strategy that those two have gone for is ultimately the one to go for. I think the one-stopper is the best tactic round here, but it'll be interesting to see what they can do now, and there's certainly the fastest lap point up for grabs, if nothing else.
Yeah, and remember, Schultz has still got to pit, I reckon. He's on 11 lap mediums. Don't think they'll make another 9 laps, and that could be a bit interesting as well. as we've got the AI car of Ghosts in the pits, and I don't want to talk about Kev. I don't want to talk him down because, like I said, just sometimes you've got a bad day, so I can't blame him. But fair play
If
to
there
him
is a
for carrying on. That's good fighting spirit.
I think if there's a track you can sort of forgive someone for having an off day, it is a track like this, a street circuit, a brand new track.
Definitely.
You know, it's one of those. It took me ages to get used to Baku, I'll say that much. But yeah, Scholes is definitely showing the signs that his tyres are going off because he's drifted well away from Gavin. He's actually fallen into the clutches of Gio now. And look at the oversteer he picked up there as well in turn 2. So I think Scholes needs to get shut of those mediums as quickly as possible, frankly.
Goes
Because
very
that's
wide.
not working out for him at all. He's looking all over the place now on these tyres. And this will be a comfortable overtake for Gio. Or will it?
Oh, gee! Oh my goodness, lads! Please keep it clean. It looks like Gio was stuck to the rear wing of the Ferrari in front of him, and that's a yellow flag. That is Leon. Leon has spun through turn 2 on his 13 lap old hards and has just lost 2 spots with that. Oh, was that 1 spot? I think 1 spot. Sorry. No, actually
No,
2.
I think yeah, because I think McPaper was behind him, so McPaper
Yeah.
and Hausman
And
front
then
of him. He's now under threat from Fairhan as well. Fairhan's going to go down the inside. Oh, it could be contact here if we're not careful. Simics now
Oh,
taking advantage and trying to go up the inside. Oh, and I think Fairhan tapped the back of Leon there, and he's
Oh.
almost tapping him round. Oh, that's an interesting way of getting past.
and then there's Simics, who will probably gain 2 spots within one sector basically, and yes he does. Down the inside he goes, gets the move done already, but that was not really fair by Fairhan, who then hits the rear end of Simics once again. Fairhan, lad, what are you doing right now as he makes contact once again?
Wrong. Oh, that's really, really clumsy from Fairhan.
That's poor. That's very poor, not gonna lie.
That's not the proudest lap he'll ever have in his racing career, let's put it that way.
No.
I think we'll be seeing some of that in the stewards, unfortunately. Maybe a sense of frustration at how his race is going, but nevertheless, that's still not the right way to drive. And that will put him out the points, which hopefully none of the other two have got damage from it. Looks like they're both carrying on at the moment, so Leon and Simics remain in 8th and 9th, Puma 10th, Fairhan's now out the points. I'm surprised that none of them have come into the pits after all that contact. But hopefully they've all come away unscathed. Meanwhile, front, the gap's stabilised now, to be honest, between Nino and Gavin, as Leon takes the really wrong line through there. And now Civics is going to have an opportunity to get past Leon down the second DRS straight. And he's not close enough under braking, but if he stays that close down to the next DRS
not close
zone,
enough under braking, that was maybe a bit too close under braking, if I'm honest. He touches the rear end of that AlphaTauri, and I was on board behind with Puma, who had an alternative track layout for him. He just ignored the white lines and just cut the corner, but there goes Simics. Oh, the gap closed just that tiny little bit right before he tried to go for it. And there goes Puma maybe down the inside. No, he pretended he wanted to go for that move, but he didn't. So that was a good decision from him. And remember, Leon on 40 lap old hards. Going to be the same for Nino. They won't be too quick now. They won't be too worn either, but not going to be the fastest tyre out on track, and especially with Simics and Puma being on fresh hards, that's going to be a struggle to keep them behind. And by the way, look at Schultz. Schultz is on 14 lap old hards. Mediums, sorry. 14 lap old mediums, and this man is not letting go of Gio, who's on 4 lap fresher hards.
The apparent limit of a medium tyres is 16 laps, so we are, in the last few laps we might be getting towards puncture territory here if Scholes has decided not to pit. And I suspect he's not, because you'd imagine if he was planning to pit, he'd have done it by now.
Yeah.
For softs. So he's obviously wanting to stick this out, and he's got an 11-second lead over Miku, but he's obviously running the risk of a puncture. But he's not done with Gio yet. He's coming back down the inside into the hairpin, but fair play to Gio. He broke very late there to hold on to that place.
Fair play to Scholz though as well. I mean, he's going for it. He thinks, what have I got to lose? I've got the pace, but I haven't got the right strategy call though. But I'll still try and go for it, because if he pits now, he'd probably drop down to at least 5th, so he'd lose 1 spot. And yeah, with this, he might still get a podium or a puncture and could lose everything.
Yeah, it's all or nothing risk he's taking. Gavin, just checking, he's pulled a little bit to Nino, but Nino looks like he's got this under control here, so barring any mistake, as Kev does some very strange weaving behind his teammate, barring any strange sort of thing happening now, Nino looks like he's got this under control, and it could very well be the 8th different winner that we've mentioned could happen, but this battle for the podium's still on thanks to Scholes, who is defying all logic with the tyres to continue this fight for it.
And Leon pits. He knows he's got 10th guaranteed, more or less, basically, and he decides to go for another pit stop, probably get the fastest lap. And yeah, why not? And Schultz, fair play. He's in P4, and he's still not out of that 1 second window. Oh, but he was at the detection point. But he gets back into it on the straight, even though he hasn't got any DRS, or barely got any ERS left. Same for the car in front and Gavin, and then look at Nino. Nino's just got everything under control here, hasn't he? I mean, Nino absolutely flawless until this point. I don't want to jinx it, but absolutely brilliant and flawless so far. Not gonna lie, that is some great stuff he's showing here.
I've got to be honest, like, teammates obviously, first of all, you've got to make sure you look after yourself, but obviously think of a team as well. I know that he's ghosting and everything, but if I was in Scholl's position, that would be quite distracting, having my teammate that close to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I could see it making him nervous. It would make me nervous, at least. And having a car right behind you all the time, and then suddenly weaving on the straight. He wanted to give the stream a little wave. Who knows? Not sure. He hasn't been caught on stream all too much, but now, due to his teammate being right in front of him, he's to be seen a couple of times.
Puma's putting in some good laps as he tries to get fastest lap. That's obviously what Leon's going for. Oh, and Simics has lost some of his front wing. He's gone into the back of Puma, who's gone round. I didn't spot that bit. Puma's gone round. And Simics hit the back of him into turn 1. That was a very, very clumsy one. We've got a virtual safety car as well now, I suspect, because Kevin has DNF'd. Or Kev, rather. But yeah, that was very odd there. Puma just set the fastest lap of the race. Looks like he was comfortably ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Yeah, then all of a sudden the Alfa Romeo tags him round through turn 1.
He just overtook him on the previous lap. I was just about to mention that. And then suddenly Puma's turned round. Simics has got 4 wing damage. So there must have been contact. That must have been Simics outbraking himself or something. Because turn 1 is a weird spot to actually spin. Like properly spin. That must have been a crash then.
So it's a real shame for Puma. He's doing some good laps there, but he's still comfortably in P9.
Had potential for P7 though.
Yeah, he may well get P8 back again if Simics' damage costs him too much.
Yeah, but his P7 is definitely ruined now. Because he's about 10 seconds behind Hausman now with 3 laps to go when he crosses the line, so I don't think that's gonna be a near impossible task, I'd say. But I just want to give Nino some screen time because he's been dominating this race and he's done everything he needed to do.
Well, don't worry. While you're watching Nino as well, I'll keep an eye on Scholes because I'm interested to see what happens in regards to his tyres. Now, this would be the perfect time if Codemasters would implement something where you could see the tyre wear.
Like the AWS tyre graphics where it says like minus 10% by now.
He is dropping off Gio at a rate of knots now, so this will be the critical time in the race. He's done 17 laps on those mediums now, beyond the expected trajectory that they would last, and he's still got another lap and a half, well, a couple of laps to go. So this is going to be really touch and go, and I saw certainly there the understeer he was picking up. So this is going to be.
Also, look at the blisters on the rear tires. Those are massive. You can definitely see a straight line of blisters. That tire is basically done. So he's got 2 more laps to survive, more or less. He's got a 14-second gap behind, so he can, take some time to save his tires now a little bit, to give them a bit of a break, and those tires will be happy when the race is finished. And oh my god, just if you go on board, look at the blisters. That's very rare to see that on the F1 games.
You can see just the amount of delay he's having to put before he can get on the throttle. Now he's losing so much time. He's fine in terms of position, but it's just I'm still be shocked if he gets to the end without those puncturing. I've got to be honest.
He's driving very careful right now, avoiding the curbs, avoiding everything that could make the car slip or lose some grip. He's just lost a second in the first sector, and Leon just set the fastest lap of the race on his fresh softs. And yeah, it seems like everything is more or less settled in this race, but it's still Vietnam. It's still easy to make a mistake, so you never know. I'll just stick with Schultz for now, and as soon as Nino has started his final lap, I'm going to switch on to his Racing Point car, because he deserves the screen time, because I feel like it's rarely, very rarely, if there's not really a fight for the lead, it's very rarely actually appreciated how good a drive was. But again, Nino did nothing wrong all race as he locks up into turn 1 for good measure. Double lock up, just for the fans, some smoke. And flawless drive so far. I mean, never really in doubt this race win. And from start to finish, basically took pole out of nowhere, if I'm honest. And now it seems like Nino's becoming our 8th different winner in 8 races. And yeah, I'd say well deserved.
Absolutely, he's just had it under complete control throughout, and he called the strategy absolutely bang on. Gavin's at times threatened to do something about it, but ultimately Nina's just had it under control. Massive well done to him. Like you say, that pole position lap was completely unexpected, but since then he's looked fairly unstoppable, and he's going to take a great win to say that he is his first win of the season. And we go on to Japan next week with potentially looking at, can we get a 9th different winner?
Just keep on setting records, lads. That's good stuff. This F5 grid is going to be written down in the history books of PSGL if you keep on doing what you're doing. Just bang out those different winners in different races. And maybe it's Miku's time to shine next week, who knows, or maybe someone completely different. But there comes Nino, around the final corner he comes. After 28 laps in Vietnam, he wins the first PSGL F5 race around Hanoi and takes his first win of the season, our 8th different winner in 8 races. Gavin takes P2 after he tried something with the strategy. I can't really blame him. It was a good effort. And Puma's retired. On the last lap, he won't get any points.
Wow, so Fairhand will get the final point. That's amazing. And I have to say, hats off to Schultz. He did 20 laps on those medium tyres, and he has made it. I'm utterly astonished.
Yeah, Miku comes round in 5th, doesn't lose too much. Actually gains a lot of points on Rataka then in the championship, who's retired on lap 1. Then Paper finishes P6. Hausman in P7, then we've got Simics in P8, and Leon will come across the line to take P9, and then our last finisher will be Fairhan, who rounds the final 2 corners. Not a good race for him once again, sadly, and he takes 1 point with him though. At least that's something, and you have to see the positives in everything. And I think that's the only positive he can take away with that, I'd say.
Yeah, just hearing some feedback from Scholes. He had, I'm guessing that was one of his tyres at 85%. Just so he would have, I think another lap and they would have punctured surely.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of yeah, it's just playing with luck, with your own luck. I think after 75% they can blow up. I think that's the mark where the tires can blow up. Not too sure though. And I think then it's basically just pure luck if they do blow up or if they last. And we already had a puncture in Spain or for the race leader on the last lap in the last sector. But today there was nothing like that, and Nino won the race. And I gotta say, it was quite a dull race for Vietnam, but that's alright.
There's some good drives in there. I suppose I'll ask you, in terms of driver of the day, who would you say would be, who would you give it to?
Well, I'd say Schultz had a brilliant drive, a brilliant start, some good pace, and made those tyres last very well. But I'll have to give it to Nino. I mean, flawless drive, had everything under control all the time, and yeah, basically out of nowhere took pole and the race win. So for me, it's gotta be Nino. Who's your choice?
I'm gonna please Scholes because he's actually commenting in the chat now, saying, "Did you guys see my
Yeah,
start?" We saw the outcome of your start, and I've got to say, I'll give it to Scholes. Like that start was incredible, from ninth all the way up to second in half a lap, and then to just do what he did at the end on those tyres to keep them going the way he did, and to get fourth. I'll say Scholes. I think he did a great job.
yeah, I can definitely respect that. I'm just gonna invite those guys. Gonna invite Gio now, our third place driver. Then Gavin has left the session. Gavin, you are an absolute egg. Just wanted to say that because you left the lobby, so I can't invite you as easily. Nino is not, neither is Gio, because both have actually stayed in here. But I think I should have Gavin on my friends list. If not, I'd be a bit disappointed in myself. Wait, let me check if I can actually find him, or if he's appeared, or if he's appearing offline. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Good, good stuff. Good boy. So I've invited everyone. Let's see who is going to join our podium interviews. I reckon Gavin will join. Don't know what about Nino. We've got a first driver joining. That is Nino, actually. That is good to see. That's good to hear. Let's see who else joins. Gavin is joining as well. And yeah, Gio's as well. So I think we're going to have a full podium interview. So good to see. Then we can start off straight away with our race winner, Nino. 8th different winner in our 8th race this season. Incredible stuff so far from you guys. And yeah, we're starting off with qualifying. Where did that pole lap come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I knew the track was going to ramp up a bit because it always does. So I tried to go out as late as possible and hopefully get my lap in, and I did, and just got there.
Yeah, we were a bit scared by like when we had 5 minutes left on the clock. Gavin still had pole by 5/10 of a second after his banker, so we were a bit scared. It's going to be a boring race where Gavin just dominates and wins the race by 30 seconds. But no, it definitely wasn't. You seemed to be in control of the race all the time. And yeah, after it hasn't really been your season so far, are you hoping to kick it off now with such a strong result as today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I knew Gavin was quick, so knew I had to push more or less all the time, and yeah, I saw I pitted lap 7, I think it was, and he didn't pit, so I thought maybe next lap, but then obviously he didn't, and went on to the mediums then. So as soon as I came out, as soon as I saw that, I started pushing and just tried to keep the gap. I think at about 5-6 seconds. I think so. Yeah, I got a bit sketchy at the end. My tyres were puncture territory, but it was all good then at the end. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't there really often so far this season. You DNF'd in the first round. I remember you had that ERS glitch where you were stuck in
Oh yeah.
overtake. Then you were on holiday, as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, then you came back in Belgium, then had a horrible weekend. You didn't race
Mhm.
in Zandvoort, and now the second proper race you had was in Monza, where you got a podium, and then just 1 week after in Vietnam, you win the race. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you're there, it seems like you really got the pace. So do you reckon you would have maybe been able to fight for that championship as well if you just wouldn't have been on a holiday and had yeah, not turned up so
Um,
much?
yeah, I think most definitely. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So yeah.
You just have to keep your head down and do what you can,
Mhm.
and that's what
Yeah.
you did today. So huge
Yeah.
congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
looking ahead to next week, we've got Japan. Suzuka, I can remember you quite liked the track on last year's
Yeah.
game. Still the same?
Yeah. 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 I like Suzuka. I think it'll be a bit better on this game as well because you can take the corners more, quickly. So yeah, it'll be fun.
All right, I hope it's going to be fun for us watching as well. And yeah, congratulations, our 8th race winner of the season, and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
Then, Jake, as always, you can take our second place driver then.
Right, so well done to Gavin on P2. You must have been thinking towards the end of qualifying who was going to challenge me. Were you a little bit surprised in the end that you didn't get pole?
Yeah, I was really surprised, to be honest. When I improved my last lap, I was really happy with it because in practice I hit it like multiple times at 32s, and in qualifying itself I hit it 33.1. Kind of disappointed, but yeah, in the end I just qualified P2, and qualifying is most likely key on this track because it's a really tight and tricky track to overtake people. So yeah.
In terms of the race start, obviously Scholes actually had the lightning start and ended up challenging you for P2. Do you think ultimately that did cost you a little bit against Nino today?
I didn't know he had a starting light glitch, so yeah, I didn't know because of that. And yeah, I pushed Nino a bit off track. It was completely my fault because I went deep and wasn't looking at my braking point, and more likely he was looking where he was because I couldn't see the arrows. So I'm sorry for that. I also apologize for that in the Discord chat, but still. And I'm happy for him that he won the race, and he had like amazing pace, qualifying and race, and just unfortunately that I lost 6 seconds in the pits because my disconnected teammate was pitting the same lap when I pitted.
Obviously, looking at the bigger picture as well, you were 4th in the championship coming into this race, and the top 3 in the championship have had difficult races tonight. Does that give you confidence looking at the championship now going forwards?
Yeah, of course. Japan is a track that I really like, but I don't think I can challenge for a possible race win. But still, I really like the track and will try to get top 5. And yeah, I saw that Retica crashed in the earlier laps, and I knew, okay, the championship fight will be closer right now after this round. So I'm more like confident about the championship right now and try to push harder for next round.
And in terms of your hopes for Japan, do you think you can become the first 2-time race winner this season next week?
Probably not, but I try to. If I can find the right setup for it and get the right strategy together.
No worries. Congratulations on 2nd place and all the best going forwards.
Thank you very much.
Alright, then moving on to Gio, who's finished in 3rd place. Gio, first of all, congratulations on your first podium of the season. And a bit unexpected, I'd say, especially after you've had a race ban last week. You've bounced back in a pretty strong manner, I'd say.
Yeah, I try my best today with difficult competition. I think on the track some drivers are very nice to race with, some drivers not so much. But today was quite straightforward. A lot of guys pit very early for the medium tire, which is how do I say stupid. I don't know. Gavin pit same lap as me for medium, which was a gamble, I think, but worked for him. But the other guys pit way too soon for the aggressive strategy, and it made my life a lot easier. On the hards, I had a very good pace. I was matching Gavin for pace. Hyped Ferrari were in front of me was so slow in the last 10 laps. I just had to get past. He tried to stay with the DRS, but it was too easy because I had more grip than him. Congratulations to these guys. I know in DMs we have had some interesting experiences, especially with Nino. A lot of words said about the last races, but it's heat of the moment, and you get annoyed with one person this week and you get congratulations the next. So very proud for myself, and GG to these guys.
Yeah, it seems like you've gone through quite a development within a week or within a race span, and yeah, pretty good fight back. It was a pretty lonely race though for you. Do you like it when it's a bit quiet on the track and you're not around other drivers, just doing your own thing, just driving in clean air, do the best laps you can?
It depends on the driver. A lot of drivers, you know where to overtake and where to defend. Some drivers think every corner is an overtake, so it can be difficult sometimes to kind of what's the word, battle with these guys. But it's nice to have some time to yourself, just do your own race and get on with it, which is what I had today. But the start was difficult. I try very hard to keep with the guys ahead on the softs. I did 2 laps in qualifying, so I was surprised I managed the tires so well. But yes, very enjoyable today, and I will celebrate.
Yeah, and then next week we've got Japan, and it's not really easy to overtake, but what do you think? Do you think it could be another strong result from your side?
I'm not on a wheel, so I'm only on the pad. So it's quite difficult to challenge some of these guys on the wheel because the pad's not very good on this game. But I like the circuit. Japan is a good track for me. I'll give it my all like I do every week. Hopefully get some time to practice, but the qualifying lap times, I didn't do very well in quali. I had a lot more pace, but I was nowhere near Paul. At least 4 attempts today, so it's going to be a challenge to try my best in quali and see what I can do.
All right then. So congratulations on your win today, on your 3rd place today. Congratulations to all 3 podium finishes, and yeah, good luck for next week, all of you.
Thank you. I'd like to say as well, you guys on commentary are some of the best. You guys are really fun to listen to back, so thank you for commentating. It's good.
Thank you. Always nice to hear that people enjoy it. And yeah, I'd say that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in once again. Thank you also, Jake, for joining me in the commentary box for today and then for the upcoming races as well. Was fun as always, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what happens the rest of the season.
And maybe we'll see our 9th different winner in our 9th race. We had 8 out of 8 now, and maybe we can break some records this season, but we'll have to find out next week when we come to Suzuka in Japan. Hopefully that's going to be a thriller once again. Japan, a great racetrack, a favorite of the fans and the drivers. And yeah, make sure to tune in next week once again, 7 p.m. UK time on Monday. And also, right now, there is F1, F2, and F3 going on. So make sure to tune in for that as well. And if Jake hasn't got anything to say anymore,
No, that's. I think you pretty much summed it up perfectly. I guess we'll see you all next week and see who comes out on top at Japan.
exactly. And yeah, thank you once again. And until next week, take care and goodbye.